This is Kent Rogers, and he is joining us from Nepal, where he lives with his wife and oversees an orphanage of some type, which we'll talk about in a little while. But today we're talking about your book, 12 Miracles of Spiritual Growth, a Path of Healing from the Gospel. Kent, just tell us a little bit about your book and why you wrote this now.
All right. I actually wrote it about 5 years ago, and I started writing it after I meditated on the first chapter, the healing in that first chapter, which is the one about the woman who has a demon-possessed daughter, and she's desperate to get her healed. And, there's this lovely, passionate woman wanting so much for her daughter to be healed, and Jesus calls her a little dog. And that really disturbed me, and it created a small crisis in faith. So I thought, how could the God of love be saying this to somebody? So I decided I'd meditate through the passage and see what came out of it. And it was a really beautiful experience. I saw how much love was in the exchange between Jesus and this woman, and it sort of inspired me to do similar meditation through other healing miracles, and the end result was this book.
Lovely. Who did you write this book for, and who do you hope reads this book?
Okay, this book is for anybody who's interested in an in-depth relationship with God, the God of love for all people. And so for me, it's for everybody, and I hope it can be useful for anyone. I think there's a particular group of people that might benefit from it, because it is about psychological, spiritual healing, and that would be 12-step members and real spiritual seekers and Christians who may not be exactly satisfied with the mainstream vision of or presentation of Christianity.
Mm-hmm. In your introduction, I was really struck by that you made a special point to address your friends and those who are not Christians, and you did a wonderful, beautiful job of describing why you are a Christian and what it is like, how it's expressed in your life and what it means for you. So are you hoping that this book appeals to more than a Christian audience?
I guess I don't have a specific hope for that. It would be wonderful if it helped people of any faith or non-faith. I would be very pleased if it could touch anyone in any positive way. But as the introduction says, I do have a lot of people who are very dear to me who are atheists, or Hindu, Buddhists, and all Muslim, also Jewish, and sometimes I have to feel that Christianity comes across as sort of elitist, or you're either with us or not with us. And when I read Jesus' message, it's really love everybody as fully as you can. So sometimes I feel hesitant about my strong Christian faith because I don't want people to be turned off or feel separation from me because of it. Because from my perspective, it's what allows me to love people at all, or more than I could otherwise. So,
do you think that one has to believe that these miracles really happened for them to have any meaning for our lives? Because as you know, that's something that a lot of even Christians probably struggle with, is the literal meaning of Scripture, and did these things really happen? Do you think that's important?
I don't think you have to believe the miracles literally occurred for the message that I try to communicate to have meaning in people's personal lives and individual lives, and hopefully have an effect on society. However, I feel like we've started to train our minds for the last several centuries on a very scientific, materialistic way of seeing life, and consequently life responds according to that mechanistic way. And I believe that if we open our minds to a non-mechanistic, non-scientific way of looking at life, we'll notice, wow, miracles are happening all the time. Life is nothing less than a huge miracle. So
that makes me want to ask you: have you experienced miracles in your own life? And I ask specifically because in your introduction you say, well, at first I found the written accounts of Jesus' miracles less meaningful. When parallel miracles began to occur in my own life, I was astounded, and my faith was amplified.
Yeah. That statement refers specifically to personal miracles, like the kind that I'm trying to help people experience through this book, healing from various psychological, emotional problems, social problems. And when I noticed that what he was saying was occurring on a different level inside of my own life, then it really opened my eyes, and I was very curious. But I would say actually even physical miracles have occurred in the context of that I've been given to witness. One of our adopted sons here, his optical nerve is all but dead, and his eyesight was diminishing. And so we started to pray every night for him. And when we went back to the doctor a couple weeks later, the doctor couldn't believe the results of his vision tests and made the nurse do it again, and said to the nurse, make sure you cover over his other eye, because I don't believe this. And the nurse covered his eye, and he still could read the letters. And so that's a miracle.
Yes. Another thing you say in your book is our spiritual wounds and weaknesses are really blessings in disguise. Can you say a little bit more about that?
Well, for one thing, it keeps us humble, and humility, I think, is hard to come by, and one of the most important things that we can have, because it allows us to really care about other people and give of ourselves to other people in a genuine way, and that's what life's all about. And the other aspect is, our weaknesses are things that we cannot transcend on our own, by definition, in a way. Otherwise, they wouldn't be a weakness. So it makes us desperate for God in a way, and it also is a place where God can reveal His love for us and His power to help us.
Nice. What would you say, having written this book and having meditated through at least 12 of these miracles, that the grand message of Jesus' healings is for us on our spiritual journeys today?
Well, that we are loved, and so in the same manner that we are loved, which is infinitely. So it's a lifelong journey, of course. But it's a fun way.
Yeah. Terrific. Is there one particular miracle story that's your favorite, and if so, why?
That's a tough one, and all the different miracles have affected me more at different times depending on, where I am in my life. But the one that seems to stay consistently important to me, just regardless of the state of my life, is the one about the blind man being healed, which is basically what I have received from that story is the idea that if we are willing to give up all judgment, negative judgment of all events, all people, everything in life, and just accept life as the miraculous gift of God, and that even though it may look chaotic desperate, that we can trust there's a bigger plan and that all things are leading towards a good end. That is a radical change in perception of what life is, and it's so much better to see life that way than in a fearful, judgmental way. And I spent plenty of years in the former way, and I'm slowly growing, trying to adopt this new way of looking at life. And the more I'm able to do so, the more not only liberated into joy do I feel, but empowered to take positive action. So that's probably the one that stays with me the most.
Thank you. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing in Nepal. When you moved there, and how you decided to stay, and what your work is there now.
I had a very, very powerful experience, and I knew I had to help people who needed help somehow. But I didn't know what capacity. I started working in a nursing home. About a year later, some people said they wanted to build an orphanage in Nepal, and they needed a fundraiser. So I thought, this is great. This is what I want to do. So I was raising money. Things started to fall. We got a lot of money quickly, and then things started to fall apart, and we didn't have people to go to Nepal and set up the orphanage. So what was I going to do with all the money? The board of the money-raising organization and we brainstormed and came up with a few ideas. They didn't really pan out, so finally I said, okay, I'll go stay for 3 years, set up the orphanage, and come home. And I went there, and that was a tremendous experience, just leaving everything and showing up in a country totally foreign.
How old were you then?
So we set up the orphanage. Go ahead.
I just asked, how old were you when you went there?
I think I was 27, I think. And so I started to work there, and there was some staff, and one of them was my future wife, and we slowly fell in love, and as we were working side by side, and so I married her, and we decided to stay on as the permanent mom and dad for the kids we had taken. And today's our anniversary.
Happy anniversary! Your wedding anniversary.
Yeah, 10 years.
That's 10 years. Beautiful. What a lovely story. Thank you so much for sharing with us this morning. So, Patheos Book Club is featuring your book this month. Folks can go there, patheos.com, to read more about your story, to read an excerpt from your book, to read a number of bloggers who are responding to the book over the next couple of weeks. So we hope you'll join us there, and we thank you so much, Kent, for your time this evening, and blessings on your work there in Nepal.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate what you're doing. Thanks.
Thanks. Well, hi everyone. Can you give me a big hello from Nepal?
Hello. Namaste, Vanda. Yeah, namaste. Namaste.
Namaste.